morning. Welcome back to the Coffee Catch Up with me, Rachel from Mum's Night Out. I hope everyone's had a great weekend. Enjoyed the little bit of sunshine that we had this weekend, which is really nice. So for today's little quick coffee catch up episode, I wanted to give you a little question to think about. And the question is, can a leopard really change its spots? Now, this is obviously an old saying that we're all very, very familiar with. The leopard doesn't change its spots. The leopard can't change its spots. And sometimes with these old sayings that we hear so much throughout our childhood, our adult life, what happens is it becomes something that unconsciously we believe because we've heard it so much without even stopping to question whether we do actually really believe it or not. And so that's what I'd like to ask you today. Do you really believe that? Okay, let's take the leopard out of the equation. But can people change? Or, is that how somebody is? So I'm going to give you my opinion, and I'm going to really challenge that leopard can't change its spots statement, because I believe it's a bit of a myth that needs busting, if I'm honest. And I think it's a mask that often we can use to hide behind, because it allows us to accept behaviours without questioning them so much. So, for example, I'm sure you'll all have heard this. You'll be talking with a friend or a family member about a person and something that they've done, and you'll hear the phrase, "Oh yeah, that's just how they are. That's just the type of person they are." Or you might explain, you could say, "Oh, I'm not a morning person," or "I am stressed. I am a busy person. I am a worrier. I am. All these statements that we give ourselves that are just saying that's just the way we are. And therefore, I take no responsibility. I can't change it because that's just how I am. Or I can't do anything about the fact that behavior in that person that I've seen because that's just how they are. And I don't actually think that that's true. I was listening to a really fabulous podcast, Ron Chastity's Feel Better, Live More podcast, and he was interviewing the incredible Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he had some really great thoughts about this, and it's all about kind of our thoughts and our behaviours creating our personalities. And so therefore, if we can change our thoughts and behaviours, in turn, we change our personalities. And a little quote that he said, which I thought was really fascinating, is he said that 95% of who we are by the age of 35 is a set of memorised behaviours. And so therefore, 95% of everything that we do once we are past 35 is based on things we've done before. Our body learns by repetition, our subconscious learns by repetition, and it sticks with what is comfortable and what we know. And so therefore, we perpetuate and we do the same again. And so that informs our personality. But often those personalities have been formed because of something we feel, subconsciously probably, that we have to become. So for example, someone could say they're a competitive person, but perhaps they're a competitive person because of some form of inadequacy that they felt as a child, which has led to just repeated patterns of trying to improve, trying to be the best to make up for that lack that they felt as a child. And it could be something so deep-seated that we wouldn't even be aware of it, but that's what's formed that. And so the way in which we can change our personalities is by becoming sort of super aware and getting really questioning what we say and what we do. And once you start to question, that's where you can pick out some of these moments that actually is perhaps not something that we now need to be doing all the time? And is it something that happened, many, many years ago, and we've just perpetuated and repeated that behavior until it's become usual? And what happens is, why it's so difficult often to change, is our bodies and our subconscious feel they want us to stay in where's comfortable. They don't want us to change because they'd rather stay where they know, because otherwise they sense that fear of unknown and that danger that could come from the unknown. So even if what is known and the behavior that we're being pulled back into is a painful behavior, is an uncomfortable place, our body wants us to stay there because they'd rather stay in the comfort of that pain that's the known than, branch out into the unknown. And so what we actually need to do is first get aware, question, and then be prepared to move through that discomfort. Because at the start, when we start to change our behaviors in order to change parts of our personality, for want of a better word, it's going to feel uncomfortable, and it's going to feel and our body is going to try and stop us, and our minds are going to try and stop us. So you're going to get those little mind monkeys saying, oh, it's too difficult, do it tomorrow, don't do that. And it's, if we're wanting to really change, then we've really got to push through those uncomfortable times. So that's just a little thought for you today. I'd love to hear your opinions. As always, please contact me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm at Mum's Night Out Podcast on both. I'd love to know your thoughts on whether you think we can change, or whether you think a leopard does keep those spots.